Good morning. Okay, a couple of things that I want to touch on. Some craziness that's been going on the internet, and I like clarification. I'm that kind of person. So let's just get that out of the way because we've got a lot to look forward to, a lot, especially starting today, that's going to be life changing for most of us. So, anyway, regarding the Micah Miller case, let's talk about the content creators. There was a question that was asked to Robbie Harvey on a live that he did just recently regarding if he had stolen anything from other content creators, and he said no. I don't really think we've stolen anything from anybody. To be honest with you, there's not one thing. There's no star in this, is my point. Every one of the content creators, in a sense, have worked as a team. There are some people who've brought new information to the forefront, and then the rest would either add to it, which is just as important, or would just perpetuate it and keep it going, which is also important because it pressures the authorities. And that's what we want. Now, for example, and it's been a while, so let me bring it up. Danielle, when she covered the Gobbles, which obviously have a connection to Solid Rock. Or, when she also brought up the, Reginald Miller owning two VoIPs. Why would he need two VoIPs? And that was around the time where, people like Robbie Harvey had brought up the possible voice modification. He actually did it, in front of you, BoobTube TV did the same. A lot, we were all bringing up voice modification, AI, possible spoofing and swatting. There were two women that came up on Steph's Live at one point to prove that it could be done, swatting and spoofing, no matter the device, whether it be an Apple or an Android, meaning that the call could be made from another location. So we were really trying to prove that there was a high probability that the call that was made April 27th, which was always strange to all of us anyway, was probably not Micah, but somebody else. Then there was, where we had found, just by a fluke, to be honest with you, that on Google Maps, when you look at your Google map, I think everybody's default is in satellite. And if you change it to terrain, you see more. And that's how we found the creek behind 1281 Princess Anne Road. Now, 1281 Princess Anne Road is just a field. Across the street is 1274, which is Tommy Walters' house. Tommy Walters is a maintenance man for Lumber River State Park. He has a connection and a friendship with Charles McKinnon, who has a friendship with Johnny Jacobs. Now, whether they're innocent or not is not the issue. Feds will figure that out. The issue was, what was 1281 all about? Like, why was this mentioned by Robeson County? And I think there was a reason. I think the reason why Robeson County had even mentioned that they called the feds and the AG in South Carolina was to show us that even they believed in their investigation that this was spanned 2 states. I know I've mentioned that before, but it wasn't until, I had contacted, and I can't remember who it was, Agatha May brought them up just recently. They're the national something or other that keeps record of all the waterways. And we had found for April 27th, 2024, for the creek, not the river, for the creek, it was going 3 to 4 miles an hour. It wasn't too high, it wasn't too low, it was at normal range. And 1281 Princess Anne Road from there to the slough was about, I don't know, mile 1.74 miles away or something like that. And when we calculated everything, we found that by kayak, in the conditions of that day, it would have taken about 11, 12 minutes to get from that point to where Micah was found. And other content creators helped with that because Agatha May brought up the ping that was above the slough. That's where the creek is. That would make sense why her phone would ping there, just as it pinged the 1281. And CJ showing us that from the entrance of the slough to where she was found was 5 minutes in, to show exactly where she was found, which, believe it or not, is exactly where that creek comes in, So a lot of people gave to this, and we all worked together to either add to it or to add to what was brought forward, or to even find new information, that had something to do with it. Every one of us worked as a team, okay, is my point. Not one person is a star here. Not one. I don't care what anybody believes. That is the case here. So let's just get that straight. Now, another thing that was said was, if you're getting donations, that it's going to be considered a nonprofit, you're going to need a 501c3. No, you're not. Those are considered gifts. The only thing that donations, the only thing that you're going probably to deal with is taxing, being taxed on it. But no, it is not considered a nonprofit. It is not considered. So if the Secretary of State tries to pull that on you, the law is that that's donations. It's not a 501c3, and it's not a nonprofit, okay? They're gifts. You may need to get attorneys because these people don't know the law. The other thing is, okay, so to say, hey, if you're looking for donations, just go get a job. Well, some of us can't do that as easily as others, okay? Now, there are some people who've made this into their job to become an investigative journalist or a true crime reporter or whatever, and that's great. Some of us just don't have that option. Now, when I came into this myself, yeah, do I have the degree? Do I have the magazine? Absolutely, but I didn't come into it as a content creator. I came into it as a Christian who was calling out and exposing evil that was going on in the church from a pastor who was obviously a wolf. His hair's driving me nuts. And then when the trafficking came up, and I've been involved for many years in exposing trafficking, I had realized this is now shifting into something newsworthy, and that's when it transitioned into my magazine, which this month turned 13 years old. Now, I'm permanently disabled, so just getting up and getting a job is not an option for me. As much as I'd love to do that, being that I have 2 degrees, one in health administration and the other one in business administration. And I'm also certified as a medical technician. So yeah, I'd love to be able to do that, but I can't. So, and throughout this Micah case, I promised myself I wasn't going to monetize. Now that I'm covering newsworthy stuff, other than Micah's case, I will start monetizing. But I did not monetize, and you could check it out. Till to date, I have not monetized. Now, with all of that being said, because those things are important now, okay? It's callous and insensitive to say certain things like that about people online. You don't know who you're looking at here. Remember that a lot of the rumors, the misinformation, the division, well, let me see here. I have it written down. Fake accounts, infiltrators. We've got a lot of infiltrators. They all were either John Paul or minions of John Paul, working for him, getting paid by him. Who knows? And these people have dug their heels because they spent months digging their heels in to disparaging Micah. Forget Micah's family for a minute. This poor dead girl, doing everything they could to make it sound as if she did this to herself, she drove herself to this, even though there's no evidence of that. And did everything they could to push the narrative that John Paul wanted. Now, you can try to blow smoke up anybody's rear end and try to tell them, oh no, I'm justice for Micah. Well, we've seen you for months and you know what I'm talking about. You called up John Paul and apologized to him for accusing him and harassing him and whatnot. That's not the same as my phone call. My phone call is when he called me after 3 videos back in July 4th to be exact. And tried to show me that he could find my phone number, which also means he knows my address. And so he was calling to intimidate me. It's not the same phone call as you, my dear. Your phone call was because you were going, to kiss up to him, to apologize, because you were siding with him. That is evil. Anybody that sides with evil, it's evil, okay? I don't understand. At this point, don't try to tell me I'm trying to befriend them, or I'm trying to get information from them, or they're going down into quicksand. Why would you want to hold their hand and join them in the quicksand at this point? I wouldn't. Because they've dug their heels into that quicksand of how much they stand for John Paul and not stand for Micah. So, and these are the very people who are responsible for the misinformation, for the rumors, for the confusion, for the division, for the infiltration, for the attacks, for the threats, social experimentation, and all of that stuff. Okay? So why would you want to befriend that? I have to question then you and your integrity. So remember, that's where it all came from. Not the content creators who are really working hard for justice for Micah. And let me make something very clear. It's the protesters and the content creators who brought all this to the forefront and perpetuated this story of Micah to do this to herself and kept it going this long. Okay? That is justice for Micah. Not one group and not another group. It's everyone. We've all worked as a team. Whether you want to agree with that or not, that's your decision, but that is the fact of the matter. Now, with all that being said, I hope that clarifies some things. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, oh well. Today is a very significant day. Today is a day that changes all our lives. Opportunities that are going to open to us that we never even knew existed. And exposure of things that we didn't even know was going on. And that's what we're going to cover. That's what we're going to talk about. And believe it or not, some of it's indirectly related to Micah and her case. And you'll see, as time goes on, it'll play out and you'll see. But leave all that other stuff behind. And leave all those other troublemakers and people behind. No matter what they say and they try to convince you, oh, now they're justice for Micah. I call BS on that. I call BS on it. And if that seems harsh, well, remember, a lot of the people that you see on camera, you don't know. You just don't. I'm not a logo. You see my face, okay? And some people have said I've been very harsh, or I've been very brutal, or I'm very hard, well, you know what? You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know that I'm sitting here in physical pain most times with a headache, trying to, bring down frustration and heavy emotion, because this is an emotional case. I have a daughter, and I can't imagine losing her in such a manner. You know what I mean? And I have a sister. I could understand even that. And so when you're trying to control emotions and you're trying to control frustration because you're being attacked or being made fun of, or, you're being put down, and then you got people, I just don't like her. I don't like the way she talks. I don't like the way she looks. And you got people just picking at you. And at the same time, you're in pain and you're not getting paid for it. There's no reward. You know what my reward's been? You've seen it. That he's looking to do something to me now. And humiliating me and embarrassing me. And that's all I've ever gotten through the very beginning. Lives where I'm being attacked viciously. And I'm a person. I'm a human being. Of course it hurts. And so I come before you trying to be cool and be calm about things, but sometimes I just can't. I'm a person, So, ease up on just looking at a person on the camera and then just coming to your own conclusion. You wouldn't want people to do that, would you? You're better than that. Think critically for a minute. Don't judge a book by its cover. This is where we make a lot of mistakes. This is why wolves have made it onto the altar, because the outside image looked good, and that's it. We just judge them from that. This is why we've got politicians that worship the enemy. We didn't even know that. You will find that out. But because they had this wholesome look and spoke in this wholesome way, we believed them. This is why we've got celebrities who were doing, wait till you hear some of the things that they were doing. And we believed them because they put on an image of success. Stop with the outside appearance that you know everything just from the sound of their voice or the way they speak or the way they look. You can't be that dumb. So, and with what's coming up now and in the era and the new age that we have just transitioned into, you have to start having more discernment. You have to be a little more guarded, and you have to be able to think outside the box. And you've got to be prepared to be a little more, what's the word, grown up about how you think and how you respond. That's all I'm saying. So from this point on, people, let's just start giving each other credit. Let's start patting each other on the back and saying, good job. And let's give a little, each of us, room to be human and to be flawed, because that's what we are. And prepare ourselves, because as I said, today is a very important, special day. The beginning of lives that we've never lived before. So, and we will be talking about that soon, most likely on Axiom. So you will see me, hopefully, unless something comes up, Wednesday night with Tracy Davis, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Rumble. So I hope this clarified some things. I hope that this gave peace to some things. I hope this shuts down, all of the rumors and the nonsense that's been going on and the stressful situations, and that we can move forward now. So until I see you again, God bless.